Traditionally, women have always played an underdog role in comparison to men, especially in terms of an economic standpoint. The male was always known as the breadwinner, while the female was challenged with the role of raising her family and maintaining her household. In recent decades, this has proven to no longer be the case. Women have increasingly been changing roles and developing career paths, often leading them to entrepreneurship and the creation of their own small businesses. An example of this is Sally Handlon, founder and president of the local Bethlehem business, Handlon Business Resources, LLC. Handlon met with us to give us some insight on her experience and perspective of women in the Lehigh Valley economy and her experience with women opening small businesses in the area.
Okay, my name is Sally Handlon, and my business is Handlon Business Resources, which is, I call an implementation firm, but it's more like a project partner to small business owners and to executives. There are a number of women starting businesses in this area. I think a lot of women have learned that there's only so far they can go in a corporate or a business environment that they don't have control over, and so what they're doing is finding a way to do it on their own. The statistics are in Pennsylvania that women's businesses are starting much faster than men's businesses, small businesses, and that I think right now women business owners in the state of Pennsylvania are about 27% of the business owners, and that's gone up dramatically probably in the last 10 years because women have sort of found other ways to do things. The challenge for most women is that we don't set our sights high enough with where we want to go and grow with the business. Most of the time that's usually because we're not only just running the business, but we're running the home, we're running everything else, and so there's only so much time in the day. But for the most part, the women that I know are in business are very successful. They might not be as large as their male counterparts, but it's successful and solid, and that's today what we need to be in business. I've helped someone who's a hypnotherapist. I've helped someone who's an herbalist. I helped someone who does conflict resolution. I've helped someone who is a business that is to think outside the box consultant. Let's see, what other women? I've helped a business coach, a consultant to nonprofit industries, a woman's landscape and native plant firm. What we offer as women, whether you're in corporate or whether you're in your own business, I think is the same thing, and I think we've got vision. I think we look beyond our own sort of careers to see what's best for the organization, what's best for the community wherever we're at. I think the vision we bring, I think the communication skills that we bring, the ability to pull everybody together, we're not necessarily in it for us. We're in it for whatever the greater good is or whatever we've got to achieve. So I see that as being the underlying difference between a lot of the women in business versus the men in business.
However, not all women in the Lehigh Valley are in the position to become entrepreneurs and open their own small business. There are many women in the Lehigh Valley who have felt the burden of the economy's poor state. Diane Zanetti, the newly appointed executive director of Turning Point of the Lehigh Valley, a shelter which caters to women and children who have suffered domestic abuse, also met with us to give us another perspective of how the recession and the weak economy has affected women in the area.
When the economy tanked in 2008, a lot of people were calling and say, "Oh, do you see the outcomes of that in the work that you do?" And we said, "Not really." 2009, we said, well, maybe, but not really. But 2010, it really started to catch up. And then what we see are greater numbers of people calling for shelter, even if they don't qualify. We only shelter women who are seeking safety or have lost housing due to the abuse. So if they've lost housing because they couldn't pay the bills, we are not funded to provide that shelter. So we will get calls, increased number of calls, but not necessarily all related to seeking shelter from abuse. We also have increased number of calls for people seeking counseling because of the stress. So that has impacted. If you could come in the shelter 15 years ago, at least there was the potential possibility, option of getting a job. Now that's a challenge. Whether or not you're in shelter or not, it's a challenge. So if you are financially, economically self-sufficient, you are more likely to experience a healthy relationship, because you're in a relationship because you choose to be, not because you need to be. So we're starting a number of things. One goes way back in the prevention piece. On this end, the first piece is a financial self-sufficiency curriculum, helping women learn budgeting skills, basic. Here's what you have coming in, here's what you have going out. Yes, you are doing better than you think you are, or no, you're not, but here are some resources. Here are some job training skills. We give computer access, help with writing resumes, that sort of thing. The economics, the financial, just being able to understand that if you have that self-sufficiency, you have different options in choosing your relationship.